Good afternoon. Welcome to blog 2 of my memoir. I want to remind you as to why we are doing these blogs at this particular point in Cora's history and mine as the leader here at Cora. What we are talking about over the series of the next several months is our roadmap to transformative services. Cora is really an incredible organization. That's one of the reasons I'm doing these blogs. It was before I came, and it still is because it's made up of some of the best employees that I've ever worked with or could imagine working with. The second thing I need for you to know is that we are about to launch some services that we feel will have incredible impact on children and families and has a potential to foundationally shift the way we all consider an entry point for services to kids and expediting the ability to get to those services. And in the long haul, I think that this is going to transform not just what we do here at Cora, but the way that we think about how to better serve children and families. New model of service. But in order to do this, we really do need good and innovative partners, people that want to think out of the box with us, people that want to dive into hard conversations and really do the work to transform us from what we currently know to what we want to become. And transformation doesn't come in isolation. It comes through people working together. People also need to trust and have confidence in Cora the way that I do. And that's not only going to require you to entrust the employees that work here and the mission and the values of this organization, but you also need to trust me as the leader of this organization. And I think it takes time to truly trust both the organization and the leader if you don't know them already. So part of my goal is for us to learn together and for you to learn more about myself and about this organization. In the last blog, I provided context about me, and then we followed that up with an interview with 2 of my executive team members here at Cora that helped me manage Cora through COVID. In this memoir, I want to talk about change and change management from a leader's perspective and give you my own perspective on this. All of us know someone who's very motivated by change. They see change as an opportunity for new and for great things to emerge. They're not typically threatened when change comes at them. However, most of us, over 60%, cannot understand, nor do we want to understand those who love change, because change can feel threatening and be extraordinarily uncomfortable. When I took on my leadership of Cora in 2015, we had an executive team and a senior leadership team here at Cora that was made primarily up of those who have been working for the agency for decades. Most knew and worked closely with the foundress, Charity Cole. Change was inevitably, whether we liked it or not, going to take place. In addition, over several years, our revenue was decreasing. And we were seeing our largest service department shrink ever so slowly because the schools that we were working in were also shrinking. Again, if the organization was going to remain viable and open, we needed to see change. It was not comfortable. Succession planning and program expansion, after years of stable and consistent services, can feel chaotic at times and often also out of control. With that, as important as change was to Cora, and often is for an organization to thrive, it's even more important to remain rooted in mission and values. Knowing what an organization does is obviously important. However, understanding why we do what we do is of greater importance. In June of 2015, we finished a fiscal year with revenues around $13.5 million. This year, 2023, ending June 30th of 2023, we are assuming that we are budgeted, to have a $41 million revenue, 13.5 to 41. In the middle of those 2 dates, the world faced the most disruptive event of our generation, a global pandemic. How did an organization like us get through this and remain strong on the other side? What did it take of our leadership team to make it through these years? I could certainly give you books on the ABCs of good change management, as well as those that are modeled after proven and effective change management strategies. Certainly, if you want, I can put some of that information on my website. But I'm going to give you my 2 cents of what it takes to move an organization through change, and then I want to actually hear your feedback. First, relationships. You can never underestimate the importance of relationships. When we know those who we work with, when we know their stories, then we have a sense of who the leader is. This builds trust. The second important component, trust. This is essential to change. The most powerful group of staff members is an organization's middle management team. They have to trust their superiors and believe those in higher leadership have the interests of them and their staff. Those supported by our middle managers must trust them, and then they must trust the middle managers trust the senior leaders, the executive leaders. Without this, effective, long-lasting change is going to be impossible. Trust is essential. Communication. Many layers of effective communication are essential. All of us hear and process differently. So providing opportunities for staff to engage in dialogue and hear why decisions are being made is important. Whether or not staff choose to enter into those dialogues or hear the communication is up to them, but providing it is essential. That builds trust. Ownership. When there's time and energy to invest in getting staff up front to own the change themselves, one can create the most effective change. I have stories of doing that with my team. At times, they came back to me with, I have a great idea. And for a year or two, I actually had planted the seeds of that idea. And when it came to fruition and it was their idea, it was way more effective than if I would have implemented it myself. You don't always have that time. But when you do, creating ownership of change is essential. Authority and humility. I end with that and I put them together for a reason. It's a beautiful balance. At times, whether we like it or not, a leader must step in and make the hard decisions, even if ownership of staff is not there. Then the leader must be willing to absorb that impact. In addition, a leader must be able to must be able to be very humble, quick to own mistakes and missteps along the way. This builds trust. Again, goes back to trust. Change is one of the hardest things we all have to go through. In the upcoming weeks, we will be releasing interviews and snippets as to how Cora did this well. Beginning in 2015, within a few months of me becoming CEO, and all the missteps along the bumpy road. And there were some that we learned from. In addition, I'm going to provide you some of my personal story during COVID. What my professional and personal life looked like as I strategized and managed change in some of my most difficult years as CEO and my most difficult years of being a mom. Here's my question for you to respond, and do please respond to it. I have listed 5 things I personally find essential in managing change as a leader. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? What have I completely missed? And what would you want to add to this dialogue? I do plan on responding to your thoughts, so please send them my way and be on the lookout for clips and narratives that we will be sending out regarding change, regarding our change, regarding my personal journey and change in the next few months. I look forward to hearing from you. Actually, not the next few months, the next few weeks. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.